Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Michigan Prep Frenzy podcast. I'm Brayden at MI Game Day.
And I'm Tyler at MICHFB Frenzy.
We're going to jump right into it, looking at this week's rankings. We're heading into our week 6 of games, and we have our updated rankings with some newcomers, some pretty big moves outside of the top 20, and a pretty stagnant top group in this schedule today.
Yeah. The top 7 did not change at all. Catholic League Central teams still in the top 5 with DCC at 1 and Orchard Lake St. Mary at 4.
Mhm.
And then we added Williamston up to number 50 and Romeo at number 49, who's got a big tilt this week against Dakota.
Yeah, Williamston, newest number 50, and they're certainly looking like a team worthy of uh, that ranking, and really good chance to move up higher if they keep playing the way they do.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, they got the chance to impress us in person. Will be there as they take on Haslett this week, so should be a really fun one.
Should be a good one. Big game with really conference title on the line between the two of them.
Yeah, both teams kind of 1 and 2 in that race, and pretty good chance to sort itself out this week.
Yeah, we've got Brighton up 11 spots to number 30. This is coming in fresh off their win over Northville. They've looked really strong after that week 1 loss to Dexter.
Yeah, that was a weird showing. I mean, we kind of said it that week. We were like, man, I don't know how I feel about giving up 50 at home in week 1. That's usually not a sign of great things over the next 8 weeks, but they've bounced back really well, shooting up 11 spots in our rankings. I think they got the respect out of pretty much everybody in the polls.
Yeah, and that Dexter loss, honestly, just looking less and less significant with time. Turns
Yeah.
out Dexter's doing that to everybody this season.
Yeah. Even in their loss, crazy shootout against Saline, still put up a bunch of numbers. So crazy stuff there. Other team putting up a bunch of numbers, Frankenmuth. They
Yeah,
moved up 7 spots to number 37. Um, you start off that loss with Goodrich, and then kind of squeaked by Swan Valley, which actually turns out to be a really good win. Uh, Swan Valley's only loss is to Frankenmuth. Since those first 2 weeks, though, the offense averaging almost 60 points per game. So just insane numbers to start, up 7 spots, and very good chance they keep climbing.
yeah. Honestly, at this point, they've got the offense just moving at full speed. Going to be a lot of fun to watch them close the season out and see that competition level jump in
Yeah.
the postseason.
Yeah, for sure. They've got ample opportunity to get themselves exactly where they want to be for the postseason. Um, Stony Creek moved up 5 spots, number 43. Pretty good recovery after their loss to Harper Woods a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
Bounce back, big win against Rochester. I think everybody kind of maybe overcorrected after their loss, but I think now they are kind of where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, Stony Creek, like you said, they had that loss and tumbled a little bit, but coming back up to number 43 feels like a good spot for them. Team that's been really good, still some room for improvement, but with their schedule looking forward, they've got a lot of chances to prove themselves.
Yeah, big time. Grosse Pointe South, they did what they did to Roseville. It was kind of a close game. They actually trailed at halftime, and they get enough of a boost up. They go up 5 spots to 26. I was a little surprised they didn't go up farther. Just a little bit strange to me. It felt like that was kind of their marquee win right now, and I thought that was going to be worth maybe a little more, but still almost a top 25 team right now. Obviously, lots of chances to continue to climb that.
Yeah, part of the problem with Grosse Pointe South moving up the rankings was I've had them pretty high up in mine already for the last few weeks, and a win like this, as great as it is, there's just a few teams in their way that, with the pace they're playing, they're
Yeah.
not quite ready to overtake them yet.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I was just surprised. I figured a couple other people had them pretty low. I thought they would have made, the bigger adjustment with Grosse Pointe South, but yeah, still a good win. Beating Roseville, that's a good win. To
Mhm.
do it the way they did, to kind of take over in the second half the way they did, that impressed me for sure.
Yeah, next we've got Lowell. They've dropped 11 spots now down to 49. This is coming off their loss to Cedar Springs, 38 to 25.
Yeah, strange one as well. Um, I don't think that's a bad loss by any means. I don't know if people just don't respect Cedar Springs or what, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, I don't think that was a bad loss by any means. But they got the chance to recover. They got Kenwa Hills, so yeah, no time to kind of sit there and lick their wounds. That's going to be a tough game. Really talented team that they're going to have to face. So yeah, can't just sit there and pout about it.
Nope, we got to move right along. And up next, we've got Grand Rapids Northview. They've dropped 11 spots as well, now down to 46.
Yeah, another West Side program taking a big tumble here. Just a weird game. They lost 10-3 this week to East Grand Rapids. Since their week one kind of blowout loss to Lowell, East Grand Rapids has been really darn good. So interesting to see Northview take that big of a drop. And it'll also be interesting to see if East Grand Rapids keeps doing this. How long does it take before they start making the jump into the rankings themselves?
Yeah, completely agree there. Next, we've got De La Salle down 8 to number 38. And really, a team coming in with four straight losses. I'm surprised that they're even in the rankings. I think it is really more of a testament to their brand and
Yes.
uh, the quality of the team on the field that we're used to seeing, and having a little bit of bias from the pollsters and just expecting them to be a great team. I think this team is still very solid, but a team that's coming in on four straight losses is not a team I would have expected to see ranked.
No, no, I thought they would if they weren't gonna be unranked, I thought they would drop into the 40s. They gotta be pretty happy only dropping down to 38, and there's probably a lot of teams 39 through 50 that are a little bit frustrated by it, but, uh, yeah, no, 4 straight losses, um, is tough. Now, you did it against Davison, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Toledo Central Catholic, Detroit Catholic Central. That is as hard of a schedule as you'll find in the state. So take it with a grain of salt, I guess, that you've lost all those games, but those are all really good teams. So yeah, it'll be interesting. They got an uphill battle to get into the playoffs with Rouge, Rice, Toledo St. John Jesuit, and still Elder out of Ohio sitting there. Yeah, not gonna get any easier for the Pilots.
Yeah, really one of the hardest schedules in the state. Going to be interesting to see, but at this point, with a schedule like that and only having one win through their first 5 weeks, might be time to just start looking forward and try to develop that roster for the next season.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Another team kind of took a spill was Northville, down 7 to number 31. Uh, First L of the season to Brighton this week, but this feels like a little bit of an overreaction. I still think Northville's pretty solid. I think they're a pretty good team. Just really surprised to see them fall like this.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's just not many people have been respecting the KLAA the way that maybe I have, but yeah, just bizarre to see him fall like that.
Yeah, this is one that shocked me a little bit as well. Not a bad loss to Brighton, but uh, still dropping those 7 spots. Definitely not expected, but a team like Northville, I fully expect them to bounce back.
Yeah, 100%. Another team I would expect to bounce back is Roseville. They are down 6 to number 39, uh, getting punished for their loss to number 26, Grosse Pointe South. Couple losses to some good teams. Davison, obviously, they lost to. So I don't think they needed to be punished quite like this, maybe. I don't know. I still think they're better than the 40th best team.
Mhm.
But they've got Utica, number 48 Romeo, and number 13 West Bloomfield over the next few weeks. So still very very ample opportunity to move back up.
Yeah, and really, if you look through our rankings, honestly, 20 through uh, all the way down to 50, it's a really tight race there. These are surprisingly big drops, but then when you look and you see those teams we mentioned earlier, Brighton, Frankenmuth, Stony Creek, Grosse Pointe South, all of them climbing up the rankings will, and deservedly so. It makes sense that you're going to see some teams uh, drop a little bit more than you might like, but it does raise the question of, why some of these teams that seem to be underperforming are still hanging on in there.
Yeah, well, I think this week there's quite a few big games. I think it'll kind of separate that group maybe a little bit more.
Couldn't agree more. Next, we've got Mona Shores. They had their tough OT loss to Byron Center. They're now sitting at 3-2 on the season, and that drops them down 6 spots in our rankings to number 27.
Yeah, this is another one of those teams in that 20 to 50 range that you talk about. Yeah, tough loss to Byron Center. Byron Center's got to be thrilled getting away with that game. But like we talked about last episode, Mona Shores cannot love the way that that went down. So yeah, gonna be interesting. They got Muskegon this week, who's now in the top 20.
Hmm.
No time to dwell on that. They've got to play against their rival in one of the biggest matchups in the state.
Yeah, always a fun matchup. Like we mentioned in the last episode, one we had the pleasure of going to last year, and one that I fully expect to be a real battle, especially in the trenches again this season.
Yeah, yeah, that one should be really fun.
Up next, we are moving on to our game previews, starting with our already mentioned game of the week, number 50 Williamston at Haslett.
Yeah, this one's gonna be fun, I think. Um, yeah, 5-0 versus 4-1. Um, Hassel's only loss being a DeWitt. I mean, you can't punish them too much that. Williamston leads the series all time 36-20-2. Yeah, so this one should be a really fun battle because there's a
Yeah,
lot on the line. We talked about the CAC Red title kind of being on the line. Um, D4 playoff position. We talked last episode about how wide open D4 really actually is. But yeah, both projected to be in the same district right now per snooze. And Williamston kind of sits as the one, Haslett the three, and very easily those could switch after the result of this game.
yeah, this one, two teams coming in with very well regarded defenses. Haslett, like you mentioned, that lost to DeWitt, not a lot of shame there. They've been 4-0 since then. Most of these have been one score games, but their defense is currently averaging 10 points per game. And coming in against a Williamston team that has averaged 35 over their last three while allowing zero, they're going to need their defense to play really well because this Williamston is elite on both sides of the ball. Um, but with the defensive strengths on Haslett's side, I'm expecting this to be a little bit more of a punch in the mouth type of game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's before we even mention the Kansas commit at running back Corey Amakri. Um, was a blue chip kind of guy everybody wanted. He's going to end up getting out of the state and heading to Kansas. So, yeah, I've watched him and his brother both light up scoreboards now. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how he performs.
Yeah, going to be my first time at Haslett. Pretty excited for that because I've heard they've got a very nice facility.
Very nice. Yeah, I went there for a playoff game, boy, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I think against DeWitt actually. So very nice, really nice facility, really nice field. So yeah, really excited to check it out again.
All right, next we move on to our ranked matchups, starting with number 45, Brother Rice, at number 1, Detroit Catholic Central.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. The Boys Bowl always brings some eyes. This one will be taking place on Sunday. So these teams have met 69 times. Record stands with DCC leading 38-30-1. So actually been really close over the years. No surprise, these are two of the most historic programs in the state. So
Mhm,
um, yeah, this is going to be a really fun one. I think Brother Rice is going to have a chip on their shoulder. I think they're just good enough to hang around. And DCC, obviously, we've got them voted as number one
mhm,
for a reason. They are a really top to bottom great team.
mhm. Yeah, DCC, a team that has just been an absolute juggernaut through their schedule so far.
Yeah.
Came out of the gates a little bit slow, and since then they've just been an absolute force on both sides of the ball. Um, this one, I'm not so certain that it's going to be close, but this is one of those games that we mentioned earlier this season for Brother Rice that we may not be expecting them to win, but if they can hang in and keep this to a tight game, it's definitely going to bode well for their future.
Yeah. And I think that probably if you were, placing bets, DCC is probably covering whatever spread you set. Um, but I just think there's that chance that this game just gets weird. This is
Mhm.
the only game going on. It's the probably the biggest game of the weekend, I would say. Some people would say. Um, so there's a very good chance that gives them just that little bit of extra boost, that little bit extra motivation, and game could get weird, and Brother Rice might be able to hang around.
Yeah, here's hoping that's the case. Always want to root for a good game. And, we've mentioned it several times this season. Sports better when Brother Rice is better.
Yeah, yeah, 1000%.
Next, we move on to the other contender for one of the top games this week. It'd be number 7 Hudsonville at Rockford.
Yeah, this one on paper, this is number 7 versus number 8. This is about as even of a game as we've got, this entire week. So,
Mhm.
uh, really great matchup. These are the 2 teams that sit atop the OK Red right now. Hudsonville actually handed Rockford their first loss of the season last year in week 4. So be interesting to see if Hudsonville can back that up. If Rockford's going to have that chip on their shoulder and going to want to go out and avenge that loss. So, yeah, going to be a really interesting one.
Yeah, this is one with one team on Hudsonville's side coming in on nothing but blowouts since week 1. And
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how they handle a grittier team like Rockford that has been in a lot of these close games against high level competition and has that crucial, end of game experience on closing out these, difficult matchups in one score games.
Yeah, that's going to be a kind of a key right there. Um, I think that Hudsonville, obviously, they graduated quite a bit of talent, so it'll be interesting to see how maybe some of the younger guys kind of handle that.
Mhm. Up next, we got number 15, Rochester Adams, at number 43, Stony Creek. This Adams team sitting at 15, despite their 3-2 record, their losses coming to number 10, Clarkston, and number 13, West Bloomfield. 3-2, not a terrible record when you consider those are two top 15 losses, and they still have some pretty solid wins on their resume.
Yeah, I think this team's still really good. But I think Stony Creek is really good too. Like I
Mhm.
think that they cannot overlook this game at all. Stony Creek comes in at 4-1 and has a 1 point loss to Harper Woods, who beat Clarkston, beat Groves. Like they are legit too. So yeah, it's still a really good chance to get a statement win here. Both teams really.
Yeah, Stony Creek, best win on their resume might be that 1 point loss. That's just how good Harper Woods has been this season.
Yeah.
Should be interesting, and looking forward to see Stony Creek playing one of these top level teams again. We've seen it a lot with Adams' side. Seeing Stony Creek here, if they can keep up their level of play that they've had, should be another chance to boost themselves up the rankings if they can snag the W here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Moving on, we have number 41, Zealand West, at number 18, Hudsonville Unity Christian.
Yeah, Ducks coming in 4-1. They are got to be flying high after some big wins here. Obviously, Unity Christian still 5-0. Uh, Game that really has some big implications as well in the title race. Um, it kind of has seemed to come down to this the last few years, so not surprised at all to kind of see that. But Zealand West coming off of a state title in D3, Unity Christian looking like a D4 favorite. Um, Lots of running the ball. This is going to be, you know, line up in the tee and run it down your throat. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how this one kind of plays out. I think you're going to get an instant classic out of this one.
Can't disagree there. This Unity Christian, an absolute monster on offense year in and year out, and this year is looking no different. But on the other side with Zealand West, another team that they just have that T offense absolutely mastered. And this game with all the running, it could be over by 8:30. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, we've experienced a couple of those where 2 teams just line it up and run it, and the clock never stops, and the game's over before you know it. I wouldn't be shocked at all. I also wouldn't be shocked if this game gets over at midnight because they are just trading scores back and forth. We've seen that as well. So, yeah, Unity Christian kinda got the better of them last year and won 20-8. Be interesting to see if, Zealand West is able to kind of avenge that. They won a state title, and that was their blemish.
Yeah. And something that you mentioned earlier today, we were talking about some of these games on the schedule, is Zealand West coming in here with a regime change after the last season, and on the other side, Hudsonville Unity Christian. They just seem to churn out the same type of team year in, year out with that same staff.
Yeah, yeah, there's a ton of stability there. I still think there's a ton of Zealand West has a ton of that as
Mhm.
well. Um, I think that both of these teams have mastered this offense,
Mhm.
mastered this, system. I think they're running this system, from rocket on up, and I think they know it like the back of their hand by the time, they get to Fridays. So, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if neither of these teams miss a beat and this just, like I said, turns into an instant classic.
Yeah, high expectations for that one.
Yeah.
Next, we're looking at number 13, West Bloomfield, at number 33, Oxford.
Yeah, West Bloomfield's just rolling right now, man. The OAA Reds gotta watch out for him. They're gonna keep it rolling again this week against Oxford. This is gonna be a really bad, really big challenge for Oxford. Um, they're gonna have to push the ball. Jack Hendricks is gonna have to be able to throw the ball,
Mhm.
get up and down the field with West Bloomfield. They've shown flashes of being able to be explosive on offense. Uh, they haven't done it super consistently yet, but this could be the week. So Oxford's going to have to, stretch their legs a little bit against them.
Yeah, definitely the narrative of the game right there is just keeping an eye on Oxford and how they can come out against a team like West Bloomfield on offense.
Yeah, big time.
Next, we got number 16, Macomb, Dakota, at number 48, Romeo. This one right here, just looking at the numbers, appears to be another big defensive battle. Dakota coming in only scoring 21 points per game, but on the other side, only giving up 6.2. Romeo, another team that hasn't been super explosive through the first 4 weeks until they, went and put 51 up on Anchor Bay in that shutout.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think this one's gonna be one of those knockdown, drag out kind of things. Um, Neither team has been super elite on offense, but it seems like both teams just play really, really good defense. Yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all to see this, maybe be a little more even than in years
Mhm.
past. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. But I keep looking for and hoping this is gonna be the week that Dakota comes out and puts 50 on somebody, and I don't think this is gonna be that week. If they're gonna do it this season, I don't think it's this week.
Yeah, I'm not expecting that this week, but we'll see. Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, big time.
Next, we have a game we already touched on a little bit. That'd be number 19, Muskegon, at number 27, Muskegon Mona Shores. This is one that, yeah, I said it already. It's going to be a rock fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so. last year at Hackley. The game just got weird, and it just felt like that's how the game was supposed to go. Start off with
Mm,
trick plays and some turnovers back and forth, and a couple of explosive plays, a couple defensive stops. It just felt like this was going to be a weird game. 2 minutes before the game ends, in a crunch time situation, the lights shut off at Hackley Stadium. There's how you know you're playing in an old historic stadium
mhm.
when the power goes out. But yeah, a big, pretty long hiatus from the game. I think it was well over a half hour. So
Yeah,
yeah, just crazy, crazy game. It wouldn't shock me if this game was just as weird on the field. Um, it might be a little more difficult for Shores to get this win. I think Muskegon is much improved. I think Shores has taken just a small step back. Muskegon's kind of found a rhythm. They've won 3 straight now after starting off 0-2. I think this one's going to be a lot more difficult for Shores.
yeah, definitely agreeing with you there. Shores, as we've said before, no time to lick their wounds. Just got to come in and face a white hot Muskegon team.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be tough.
Up next, we move on to our unranked matchups, but some very important and notable games. We have first Dearborn at number 23, Belleville.
Yeah, Dearborn, that game did not go the way they wanted last week against Forts, and I think that game was on Saturday. Um, and now they've got to try and stop a, another really hot team in Belleville. They've reeled off 4 straight wins. That week 1 performance clearly not indicative of what this team really is. Yeah, they're still looking like a force, both in the KLAA and just in the state in general in D1. So if they can just handle Dearborn the way that I think that they can, their next few games do not scare me at all. You're probably going to see in 7-1 Belleville in the crossover, and I think whoever crosses over, whether that be Brighton, Howell, it's going to be a really fun game. I think.
I'm with you there. Moving on, we got Utica at number 39, Roseville. Roseville coming in here, like we said earlier, they took a tumble in our rankings, and they are going to be looking for a big bounce back game. This is a really tough Utica defense and a Utica team that, despite what people might think, a lot of talent on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, this is a team that can play, especially like we said, defensively. I just think they're going to be a little bit of a challenge. It'll be interesting to see kind of how they hang with them on the outside, but I don't think Roseville's going to have anything over the middle. Their linebacking core is really good. That defensive line seems to be pretty good. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see this kind of clash of styles. Utica kind of a hard nose, drag it out type of team. Roseville can be kind of high flying at times. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. If Roseville can get by this one, they've got to feel really good. But if they struggle again this week, you start to put your hand over the panic button. Maybe we we didn't have what we quite thought we had.
Yeah, with you there. Looking at the next game, another team that coming in after a little bit of a tumble, and that would be 49 Lowell at Kennesaw Hills. Lowell has that loss to Cedar Springs and setting up for a big matchup here.
Yeah, yeah. Kennesaw Hills is a tough team. Um, both teams kind of fighting for their lives in the River Cities Alliance Conference. Going to be tough. Kennesaw 4-1 as well. They lost as well this week. Battle Creek, Harper Creek got them, but still unbeaten in the conference. Still got everything ahead of them, both in the conference and in the playoffs. So I think they're gonna still be plenty motivated for this one. Should be a really fun game, I think.
Yeah, uh, definitely an important one for both teams here. Would like to, both teams would like to come in, bounce back, and be able to, take that driver's seat on their schedule.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Moving on, we've got number 28, Howell at Heartland. Heartland is hosting Howell, who's been really picking up their game recently. They had that 10-point loss to Northville in week 3, and they've scored 49 and 51 in their last 2 games.
Yeah, finally kind of got to run up and down the field against a couple of inferior opponents, really.
Mm.
But still, big confidence boost. You can figure yourself out a little bit in those kinds of games. Uh, See what works, what doesn't work against some lesser competition. So, um, Heartland not going to be a pushover. Have been competitive against Oxford and Brighton in their losses. So, yeah, I don't think this one's gonna be a runaway by any means. I think this one's probably gonna be a little bit tougher going on the road at Heartland. I think Howell will have their hands full for a while.
Yeah, next we've got Schoolcraft at Lawton. This is a really fun small school battle. 2 teams that are unranked, but that doesn't necessarily speak to the quality of these 2 teams.
Yeah, you can never judge some of these smaller schools. Um, but if you take a look, closer look, like Lawton has a couple pretty big wins. They beat Decatur, who, made a deep run in D8. Uh, Kalamazoo Hackett, who we actually got to see last year, has a ton of talent, hard to compete with, a bigger school like that. Schoolcraft comes in at 4-1, only lost to Hudsonville Unity Christian. I don't see why this game can't be really, really fun. 2 teams that I fully expect to make, kind of deep runs in the playoffs.
Yeah, 2 teams that really great teams in their own right. That loss to Ithaca is just something that's going to happen when you play Ithaca, unfortunately. Um,
Yeah.
and on the other side, Schoolcraft with that loss to Unity Christian. I mean, Unity Christian is kind of a beast of its own. Nothing you
Yep.
can really do about that. So,
No.
really, 2 teams coming in with a loss on both their records, but one that they're not going to sweat too much.
No, these are still really, really solid teams. And it's nice to see those teams. This always nice to see, better competition, play teams that are probably better than you. You can teach yourself a lot about yourself in those.
Definitely. Moving on, we got number 24, Goodrich at Owasso. This is a Goodrich team coming in at off of a 65-14 win over Clio.
Yeah, historic performance, uh, over 500 yards on the ground, just absurd numbers. Goodrich feeling as good as they possibly can right now. Um, and they're playing a team that actually lost to Clio. So um, it'll be interesting. Slowing down, Jacoby Leggett is going to be the main focus. I'm sure it was for Clio too, and it didn't matter. So they're gonna have to take that film and try and figure out what the heck they did wrong and what they can do different. Because if not, this could be a runaway too. But I mean, Owasso's had a really good season so far. Uh, hate to see them, just get absolutely waxed by Goodrich. So hopefully they can, learn from the film that Clio sends them and hopefully they're able to give them a game.
Yeah, trying to slow down that Martian offense is no small feat, and one that I'm sure those coaches are not envious of. Um,
No,
a
Coach
lot more,
Oliver's got them absolutely playing unreal football right now.
yeah, like you said, a historic game, and Jacoby Leggett just an absolute beast on the ground there.
Yeah, he's a unit.
For sure. Moving on, we have the despised Ithaca Yellow Jackets at Saginaw Valley Lutheran.
I never said that. Yeah, huge game. Uh, Probably for their division of the TVC. Um, as we mentioned before, Ithaca going for their 17th straight title in the conference, which is just insane. And I tried to do some digging on Valley Lutheran. I don't see that they have ever started off 5-0 before. So this would
Wow.
be an unbelievable this is an unbelievable start as it is. If they're able to go out there and be the team that through all those years of Ithaca kind of beating up on the TVC, if they're the team that can end it, I mean, they'll go down in history. They'll never buy a drink when they turn 21 in Saginaw. Just legendary. So Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're able to get it done, but, I think Ithaca has to still come in as a favorite just based on history.
Yeah, Ithaca definitely the favorite, but not going to be quite the cakewalk they're used to in the conference.
No, and I know Ithaca, I believe they've had some, injury, like, at quarterback and stuff like that, so, maybe not, quite the guarantee that they're used to, but we talked about it a little bit earlier, that it's pretty crazy that over 17 years, they've never been nipped by the injury bug,
Yeah,
never just, lost a weird game in the rain that, cost them or anything like that. They have put it together year after year for 16 going on 17 years. That's insane.
yeah, it is. I mean, kudos to the program that they've built.
Yeah,
You've got a coach, you've got to build that from the ground up. You're starting them young, and you are instilling a culture that is there for the entire institution of
yeah,
Ithaca football. But
yeah,
like you said,
it's
there's
crazy.
a lot of luck that goes into it. Never been hit by the injury bug. They never had a rival on their schedule that, pulled a rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah,
Just uh,
handled it.
insane that you can pull off 16 straight conference titles
Yeah.
and uh, be very interested to see if they can just keep that moving right along.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's not gonna be easy. I think this week is gonna be a challenge, but, yeah, I'm really excited to see what Valley Lutheran can kinda throw at Ithaca to kinda surprise them and get them off their game, punch them in the mouth early. We don't see teams do that to Ithaca very often, so,
No.
yeah, it'll be really interesting.
Yeah. And before we close out our show, Tyler and I here are going to go back through the schedule and give our upset picks of the week.
Yeah, I kinda went back and forth. There were a few, but I think if any upset goes on this week, I think Valley Lutheran getting Ithaca. They play at home. Ithaca has had the injury bug. This is a team that's playing motivated, best start of their program. Um, it just has the recipe for it. Not saying it's going to happen, but I think that one could be the one that would surprise a lot of people. But I wouldn't be super stunned if it happens.
Yeah. One that I'm not going to be too displeased about, but
Yeah,
no, that's just the St. Louis grad in me. Ithaca, great team there. That it's a tough matchup, and
yeah,
like we had said, it's surprising that they haven't faced an upset like this before. So,
yeah.
um, be very exciting on the other side of the ball there if they can manage to take down this dynasty that Ithaca's built.
Yeah, yeah, I would not have guessed that it would be Valley Lutheran if anybody, but they got a shot.
All right. My pick for upset of the week is going to be Romeo over Dakota. This Dakota team, based on my metrics, is a pretty underperforming offense. They're coming in about 2.5 points below expected offensive performance. And on the other side, we've got Romeo. They're coming in averaging 12.8 points above expected performance. And other side of the ball, Dakota takes the edge on defense, holding teams about 8 points below expected. But Romeo, no slouch, holding teams 3.6 points below expected. And I know that they say defense wins championships, but when you've got one side of the ball that appears to just be completely outclassing the other, it can turn a little bit lopsided. I don't necessarily expect that because whether the offense is explosive or not, this is still a very good Dakota team. They are always well coached, a lot of talent, but clearly moving a little bit slower this season. And I think that Romeo is poised to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it wouldn't stun me at all. You see how these lower scoring games go. One field goal or one stop or one touchdown, probably the difference. So, in a close, tightly contested battle like that, wouldn't shock me if a bounce goes their way. They hang around all game and something goes their way and they're able to kind of upset Dakota. But on the other side, like I said, their defense has been unbelievable so far this season.
Mhm.
Averaging less than a touchdown is that's really good for a defense through 5 weeks. So,
Yeah,
yeah, wouldn't shock me at all to see this be a, you know, 10-7 or, 8-6 or something weird. Just low scoring, kind of drag it out and, kind of let the chips fall where they may with one bounce. So, yeah, wouldn't be shocked at all to see that. That's a good pick.
yeah. This is a game that one big play could make all the difference here. Uh,
Yes.
Pretty stressful to go into a game knowing that, but should be
Yeah.
a fun one either way.
Yeah, yeah, they've stared down the face of, a lot of close games this year. Both teams have, so they got the experience for it. Be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, a lot of fun games this week.
We kind of predicted last week that there could be some really big upsets, and we saw a few. I
Hmm.
think this week gets weird. This one looks like the week we've got a lot of rivalry games. We've got a lot of good teams traveling to pretty good teams. We could see a lot of weird scores and some weird upsets.
Yeah, and could be a week where we realize that, yeah, we called it an upset, but maybe that team wasn't quite as uh, good as we had regarded them. But
Yep.
only time will tell there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, that is going to do it for us today. As always, I've been Brayden at MI Game Day.
Yeah. And, Tyler at Michigan Prep Frenzy.
Yeah,
Check our website out at MI Game Day. And I've got content still pumping out over on Prep Red Zone. So lots of stuff to do.
all right. Well, that'll do it until next time when we come back to recap these week 6 results.
Yes, sir.